upholstery.
That's really the only upholstery in there.
Okay.
That seat and the backrest.
Yeah. So kind of give me an idea again what I'm supposed to be doing here.
I just think it won't get up on a plane.
It starts and runs.
Yeah. Go to it there. To be honest with you, I don't even know if it's got gas.
Yeah.
We can check
You got to prime the ball and all that.
Yeah. Been sitting for a little while.
Okay.
I'm thinking carburation.
Carburetor. Okay.
There's very little gas in here. Pump it up, some gas right there.
Oh, and it's leaking too, huh?
Yeah,
that's a good deal. You can't leak. If you leak, it sucks here and then it don't run.
Yeah, well, you know, that's might be something else.
Yeah, you gotta fix any gas leak or air leak.
You know, man.
All right, that's good enough. Yeah, that's good enough. So the customer said that it will start and run and idle, but it will not get up on plane. It doesn't have any power. So it will not start. This is a pretty good sized boat, and that's a small engine, a 48. I am not so sure that that size engine is actually going to get him up on plane. Maybe with the driver alone. I don't know. Of course, we're going to have to get it started. I'm going to go ahead and remove the air cleaner. And I'm going to shoot some starter fluid in there and see if it'll fire up. It will start with some fluid. It's making an attempt to start. Making an attempt to start, so that's a good sign. So now I need to get fluid to this motor to make them fire up. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. We have a gas tank. It's kind of empty. I think it's empty, it doesn't have much in there. Maybe you have enough to make them run. I'm not sure how old that gas is. Maybe that gas is not good enough to make them run. I need to tilt the tank. See if it's going to pick up some gas there. Maybe that will help. When I pump the prime ball, it's leaking gas right here. Maybe the seal is bad in here. If it's leaking gas here, then it's going to be sucking air. It's not going to be sucking any gas. And that would cause it not to start. Let's pump that again. See, gas is dripping right there. So that's not good. I have to fix that first. But for now, I need to disconnect this hose right here and connect it to this hose so we can try to get this thing to fire up. Take that off. Now we need to connect these two together here. So I got my piece of aluminum here that I just made up to connect the two hoses together. Let's try that. Connect it here. And squeeze that nice and tight. You don't want no air leak. Let's check that, make sure it's not, it's turning. When it's turning like that, that's an air leak. You want it nice and tight. There, it's not turning now. I'm gonna snug it up a little bit more if I can. Yeah. Now, get a hose clamp for the other side. And plug that thing right there. I think maybe that's just good enough for it. Good work. Let's test it and see if it's gonna leak any fuel right there. Let's pump the ball. Okay. No fuel leak. That's working. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot some starter fluid straight down in the carburetor. And then try to start it. I see another fuel leak. I see another fuel leak. We gotta fix that one now too. So it has another fuel leak right here at the primer. That's the primer solenoid right there. It fired right up, but we have a fuel leak here. I need to fix that before we blow up the motor. Okay, so the next step, I gotta buy a rebuilt kit or a solenoid to stop the fuel leak here. And then on the other side, we're gonna get some new fittings here for the fuel hose so we can stop some fuel leak here. And then we can continue diagnosing the engine for power to get up and go on plane. To be continued. Okay, so we continue on this repair job on this engine, trying to get it running. So I've been waiting on these two parts right here. This one here is your fuel tank connection to the engine, and it's been leaking fuel right here. And wherever you have fuel leak, you also have air leak, and you don't want to have air leak, because air leak will suck air and you will not get no gas to the engine. So you'll have a hard start, no start, stalling, stuff like that, no power. So we're gonna fix that. And then this one here is your primer. For your cold start, first start, it primes, puts a little extra gas in the engine to fire them up. Been waiting on this too because this also have a fuel leak. They're not very expensive, so I went ahead and get a new one. This right here, you don't want to have any gas leak underneath your cover, because you can, on a first start, if you have enough fumes under there, it can, first key on that you hit, you'll make a spark in the starter. Hopefully it's sealed off, that it won't do it. You can just blow that cover right off of there. You can it can go off like a bomb. Anything is possible. So you don't want to have any fuel leak underneath this cover. You want it to be nice, tight, dry, no fuel leak. That way you don't have fumes in there that first you hit that key, you'll blow up. Prevent all that from happening. You want to stop all the fuel leaks, air leaks. Two-stroke engine, they're supposed to be really, really tight. Not supposed to have any leak whatsoever anywhere. It'll affect the performance of the engine if you have leaks. Alright, well, let's install these parts. Okay, we're going to change the fuel connection here first. So we got both sides. So you have this connection here. Like that. This is a lock. It locks here. And then this is a check valve. Actually, this goes on this side. and this goes on this side. This is the fuel tank side, this is the engine side. It has a check ball here from the fuel side. When you push on that, it opens the ball and it opens the valve. That's how that works, like that. So we're gonna install this now to stop the leaks here. I think I'm missing a part here. I gotta find the old one so I can install this on to the old one. So here's the old one. I'm gonna take this off of the bracket and put the new one on there. Got one screw here. On marine, you should always use stainless steel screws everywhere, so you don't have rust, lockup, breaking bolts, and stuff like that. Okay, so this screw does not match here. I need to find a screw for this. Did not come with a new screw, so I will have to find a screw for this. A temporary screw. I don't think I have a stainless screw right now. Alright, let me go find a screw. We're gonna have to use this for right now. This is automotive, and then later on we'll get a stainless steel for it. So basically that goes in like that. So the fuel needs to go there and connect here like that. Yep. Okay. 10mm. We got a 10mm socket. That's tight enough. Now it's center of the hole. Perfect. Okay, so that has to go down here like that. So we're going to connect the hose. This hose is too long. You know what? I think they had it hanging outside here. I'm just going to connect it like that for now. Later on, you can always cut back the hose and reinstall it. As long as it's not moving, then you won't have no air leak and fuel leak. Tighten up that bad boy. As long as it's not moving, you can't suck air or leak gas. Let's see if we can go a little tiny bit more without slipping. Yep, I'm gonna leave it right there. Now I can plug this in here. That way, of course. Perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna install the primer valve assembly. I'm gonna feed these through here. They connect to the carburetor. This one is coming in and this two is going out. We have a manual valve here. If this is not working electrically, you can actually turn that and it'll open the valve. You keep it close for electrical operation. I say a little bit of brake cleaner always does the trick. I'm gonna have to hold that right there and slip this on. There. Alright, take a screwdriver and push on that, tighten it up. Good. Cut off the excess. Alright. Now it's time to put this clamp in there. And that's in place. And screw. I should put that wire on the top. I'm gonna put that screw here. Then we're gonna put the ground wire on the top. This is your ground wire. You need to attach it to the screw.
10mm. Tighten that up nicely. Make sure the valve is good. Okay. Now everything here is tucked in there nicely, away from all the moving parts, tucked in. I think we're good there. Time to put some gas in that tank and fire it up. And check for a leak. Actually, we need to check for a leak, make sure there's no more leaks. If there's more leaks, I continue to fix all the leaks first. Alright, now it's time to prime it up and see if it's have any more leaks. Oh my, I see another leak. I see another leak right there at the fuel pump. It's leaking right around somewhere here. This needs to get rebuilt or replaced. Oh boy, yet another leak. Can't have that. That's fumes right there. Also, that's going to cause your engine not to run right, hard start, can't get up and go. So we got to keep fixing the fuel leaks until it's all gone. Alright, we need more parts. Okay, so I know I have a third fuel leak on this pump right here. So I'm going to fix that later on. But I wanted to start this engine up and see if it's going to run. So I did, and it shuts off. It did, and it shuts off. It won't stay running. So I ended up pulling one carburetor. I'm going to pull the other one too, because I found trash inside of the carburetor. And this is what it looks like. Let's see. This is the bowl. Let me get the light this way. If you can see all that trash sitting in the bottom, I'm sure some of that makes it way up into the carburetor and block the jets. Maybe that's why it's not staying running. So we're going to take out both carburetors and clean them up, put them back in, and see if they'll stay running. That's the goal. Alright, this is where the gas goes through, right there, from the tank, goes there, to fill up the bowl in the bottom. We fill up the bowl with gas and that keeps the engine running. So, I want to check the check valve. It's open right now, which it should be, because when this is hanging down, I mean you don't really have fuel in the bowl. When the fuel starts to go up, it starts to close off. It floats. This is a float. It goes up and closes off. So, it's normal for it to be open right now. When I blow air through here, when I push on the float and push it up, it's supposed to close off the valve. I'm not supposed to let any more fuel in. This is frozen, it's not working, it's stuck open. So this carburetor definitely needs some service. We're going to service both carburetor and put it back on, and hopefully it'll stay running then. That's what I think. I'm using some brake cleaner right now. That's how it's supposed to work, like that. Let's see if that's doing anything. So there's a little check valve in there that stops the fuel. I gotta get to that and take that out and replace it or clean it and see if that's gonna work. These things usually happen when these boats, or anything for that matter, when they park and you're not using them, this is what happens. They don't want to work no more. Especially little teeny weeny carburetors like these. They have teeny weeny hole where the gas has to go through, like a needle point hole, and it's very, very easy to get blocked. Alright, we're going to clean this up and then take the other one out and do the same thing. Okay, that's that. And this is the check valve. This allows gas to go in, fill up, and then it closes off. So that's stuck in there. See how dirty that is? It's green. Not supposed to be green. It would be nice brass or aluminum looking. Definitely need some serious cleaning here. I'm gonna clean this out. I don't know if I should take this upper part. Probably will take it out anyway. I want to save these gaskets, so I'm not going to clean them with any kind of fluid because it looks like it'll swell and change size. You don't want that either. Now if you look, you see that hole right there? See the size of that hole and that one? And look how tiny those other 3 holes are. See what I'm saying? Like a needle point right there. Very easy to get clogged up with one of these dirt, any little tiny dirt. So you have to have a clean fuel tank and make sure you have a fuel filter inline. I have noticed that it doesn't have one inline filter for this boat, so I might have to go ahead and put one in there because this carburetor can get clogged again that easily. So I have some carburetor parts cleaner for a while now. Hopefully this will do the job. You put all the parts in the basket and then put it down in there and leave it to soak for a few hours overnight, whatever you want to do with that. I will not put any kind of gaskets in there because I don't want it to get destroyed. I don't have another one to replace it with. So I'm going to put the carburetor in there. I think I took everything off of it that needs to take off. Yeah. Put that in there. I'm going to put this plastic piece in there. There is a jet there. It looks like it's for air. I'll look into that later. I'll put that in the basket. I'm going to put this is the seat for the fuel check valve. I'll put that in there. I'm going to put the check valve in there also. And I'm going to put the float in there. This is going to float around in the bucket. Oh, not to forget the bowl. I'm going to make sure I don't destroy the gasket. And I'm going to put this bowl in there. This is very dirty. Put that in there. And then soak it down. Now I'm going to put the float in there and clean this up too. This is just going to float around in there. It's not going to go down. I'll just clean that up. Put this cover back on. I had this for a while. You can see start getting some rust on there. I'm gonna let that soak and take out the other carburetor. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take out the other carburetor. Only got 2 screws on there. I already took a hose off. I don't think there's anything else. There might be one more hose at the bottom. They don't give you much room to take that nut loose. Very tight space. Okay, you gotta bring it out with the nut and everything. Okay, you got the nuts. Okay, so I have the other carburetor out. I'm gonna take this one apart now too and see what it looks like inside. That's the fresh fuel that I put in there with the oil mixed. Johnson is 50-1. That's your mix ratio on your fuel. So let's see what this one looks like inside. Woo, boy, same deal. Same deal. It's got a lot of dirt in there. Settling, sitting at the bottom. Get up in the carburetor and block it. Yep. This float right here. This one is stuck also. It's not moving. So let's move that. See, it stays there. See if I can break that up a little bit. See that? That's how it's supposed to be. Fall down by itself. So this one definitely needs a good cleaning too. This boat must have been sitting for a while. You know, I've noticed something here. This is the second carburetor, and I've noticed that it has this little extra gasket in the center here. This one, I did not see one on this, or in the basket, or stuck on the carburetor. That one is missing somehow. I don't know what happened there. Now I might have to get gaskets to put this back together. I'm definitely going to put it back without that one. Whatever happened there, I don't know. I'm going to have to search for it. If I can't find it, I got to get a new gasket set. I might as well go ahead and get a carburetor rebuild kit. Man, not what I wanted. It's another couple of weeks to wait again. I wanted to get this thing over with. Okay. I do have another carburetor cleaner like that, and I'm going to soak the other carburetor in that one. Yes, sir. Okay, and get the second carburetor apart. And take that out from there. That check valve is stuck in there, just like the other one. Woo! Boy, is it stuck in there. Okay, and then have to cover off the top. This is where your primer extra fuel goes in for a cold start or a forced start. There's like yeah, just slide it in here. Actually, no, that's and then we have this one here. And this little extra gasket here. If I can't find this, I have to order a rebuild kit or a gasket kit, something to do this. Dirty, dirty, dirty. So that's that. Everything is out of this one. There's nothing else there to take out. Okay, I'm gonna get my other bucket and soak this one in there too. Okay, I have another bucket of cleaner. Put this one down. Pick this one up. Clean this thing. Got another basket in here. Good. I'm going to put the carburetor in there, like that. Put the bottom piece in there like that. I'm going to put this little piece right there. Got a little jet switch, check valve, this little pin right here. You know, maybe I'll put all these screws in there too. If I don't have to, I guess I'll just do it anyways. And dunk it. Now I'm going to put the float in there next. This is a float because it floats, right? There. See? Like a donut frying. Yes. Put the cover on it. Guess I'll decide how long I want it to stay in there. Maybe overnight. Yes! Excuse me. Or a few hours. Depends if I feel like come back a few hours and work on it again. So here we go. I soaked it overnight and I cleaned it up. It's nice and beautiful, clean. I'm putting it all back together for now because I ordered a rebuild kit for it. When the rebuild kit comes, we'll take it back apart and put all the new gaskets, seals, and jets. Put it back on the boat and fire it up. I have a good gut feeling that it's going to fire right up and run. I think this is going to fix the problem. After finding all the fuel leaks and close them off, make sure we don't have none of those, and some fresh carburetors, I think it's going to run. Yep, keeping my finger crossed. So basically I'm just waiting on the parts now. I feel like a kid on Christmas morning. I got some new parts here, rebuild kit for the carburetor, and I'm excited. I'm very excited. It's not much to these carburetors, just a bunch of seals and gasket and a few jets. That's all there is to it. Okay, we got that seal for the top here. This one here is for the bottom, the bowl. That one here is to connect to the motor. Got a float. Got the inlet jet with the check valve. And a bunch of little seals and gaskets. This little gasket seal right here is what made me decide to get a rebuild kit for this. One of this was missing, so I just went ahead and get a rebuild kit because it's inexpensive. It's not really that much. I'm not going to replace all these things on this carburetor. It's not necessary to do all that. I'm just going to change all the main seals and gasket that needs to be replaced on it and put it back together. Alright, let's get this thing going. Slide all that over there. Get my little handy dandy snap-on ratchet here. I love this ratchet. Ratchet screwdriver, that is. I love it. You have these special teeth on the screwdriver, and when you have a tough screw, this little teeth, they'll grab on that screw and help turn it out. That's what I like with these bits. You can buy these bits separate. Okay. Make sure all these holes are open. One final test here. I'm gonna brace that on there, and I'm gonna blow some air through it. Or better yet, I have this little handy dandy tool. I'll hook up the air to it and blow it with that. All right. Now let's shove some air through there. That's good. It's a little ear jet here too. Good, that's working just fine. Okay. Now we got this little cleaner here. I don't know if it'll go through that hole or not, but I want to make sure that one there. Yep, it's nice and clean. I'm not sure these little tiny ones will go through there. They will not. It went in some. I need a strand of wire. That's what will work here. Okay, so I got me a piece of electrical wire. I just need one of these wire right here, one strand. That's it. It's tiny, and it should go through these little tiny holes right here. That one. Okay, you can do it. There. That's clean. And that's clean. I know these bigger ones are clean. And your adjuster right here for your ear. Okay, now we got that out. I'm gonna take this off of here. It's got a plastic part to replace that right there. I'm not gonna use the plastic part, that's for sure. I'm gonna try to use all the better parts on this. Okay, so I think it's got a little dowel right there, little dowel here and a dowel here. You gotta line those up, that and like that, and that's how it goes. See, that matches up perfectly. Now we're gonna put that on with the smaller screws. And rest that right here on the belly. Okay. And now we're gonna tighten it up. Just feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. It's squished a little bit, and that's all you want. You don't want too much. You don't want it too loose either, because these bolts will back out and you have problems here. Okay, so time to build the bottom end of the carburetor. Gotta put this assembly in there, the check valve assembly. Got a check valve. Has a little gasket on it. So let's see if we have a gasket in this kit for that. That don't fit there. That don't fit there. So this kit don't have everything in it. And this fits there, but I don't believe that's for there. Maybe it is. Or can reuse this gasket right here. I'm thinking this gasket is for here. That's what I'm thinking. I think this gasket belongs here. But nope, it does not belong there. It belongs right here. So this is the gasket for here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and install that in here. I usually like to double check and triple check. And then I'm going to use the new float. Goes that way. A little cut. You have to see that cut. Don't put it that way, put it that way. Okay. I need a little needle nose here to work with. Like that. That slides right in here. Like that. And then you hang it up on the float like that. Then drop it in. There, that's in, and they send this little plastic. I'm not using that. I'm gonna use the original brass looking. There, it works. Now I need to do a test, a leak test. Get a vacuum hose, the other side. A little vacuum hose, but it fits. I'm going to blow into here and check it, make sure it's not leaking. Gotta block that hole right there. It's not leaking. I'm blowing into it. So that's working perfect. Good. Put that gasket back on. Blow that out a little bit. And the bowl has already been blown through. Okay. Close that back up. Alright, install 1, 2, 3, 4. You tighten these because it's a rubber gasket. You don't want to over tighten it. You don't want to leave it loose either, because it'll vibrate. The engine will vibrate when it's running, and the screw will come loose, and then you have fuel leaks here. And on a 2-stroke engine, you don't want to have any kind of leak whatsoever on that motor, because that motor depends on a sealed, nice sealed engine to perform and run right and start right and get up and go and all that deal. So if you have that engine 100% sealed up with gaskets and seals all through the motor and carburetor, I don't see why that engine shouldn't work and perform good. And that's the only other problem you can have is low compression. Low compression will mess you up. You might think it's good enough and it's not good enough. Okay, the top is on, the bottom is on. That works. Pretty good on this one here. I'm going to build the other one, then we're going to go install carburetors. Okay, now it's time to put the carburetors back on. Take out the old gaskets. Get a couple of new gaskets on there. Flip it over. You can sit a little bit better. Yep. Now, we have carburetor number 1 and carburetor number 2. Number 2 carburetor goes at the bottom. It has this extra lever here that connects here. Alright. So, what I want to do is connect that fuel line now. I'm going to zip tie that now so I don't have to fight with it later. Okay, so now we're going to catch a couple of nuts on the carburetor. These are tough because they don't give you enough room here to do this. You got to back up the carburetor. And these things are stainless steel, so you can't use a magnet. Try to get this in there. Okay, now, if you don't, we'll put in there. I don't know why they can't do any better than that. They make this really tough. Should have like a lawnmower, two long screws in front here. That would have worked a lot better. Gotta take it all the way. Trying to go fingers. Finish. Harder. Right. Let down. I always take a little time. That's enough. Make sure we talk for a second. Right on the bolts. Turning it, and as soon as it starts to feel tight, it's there. I give it a little bit, tiny bit more, snug it up a little more right there, and stop. Okay, this is tight, so I'm just going to snug it up a little more and stop. That's good. So now I need to put that right there. Yeah, I can get that one later. I can get that one later also. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the 2 nuts. Alright. There. And there. That's good. Okay. You cut this back. Goes on the top. Right there. Now we can connect the 2 carburetor together. Just like that, and like that. Alright, so I've been waiting on a fuel pump to replace this one. It's cheap enough that you can buy the pump and just replace it, and now you have everything brand new in there. This one here is leaking, so we're going to put a new one on there. I'm going to wake up this hose a little bit. You have to be careful with all these hoses. They're not really brand new. They've been on there for a while. The last thing I want to do is throw all kinds of parts on this. So I'm going to take my time, see if I can push those off of there. Fancy tool. There, that's that one. There, that's that one. They're off. Now I need to turn this because I need to get that screw right here. Always remember, these things are full of stainless steel screws. You don't want to drop any because magnet don't work here. Okay. This is a pulse operated pump. You're fitting right, all right. And that was right. Yep, we're going to finish. Okay. I'm going to hold it down, weeks. If you have a leak here, it will not pump right. So make sure you clean that off so you get a good gasket surface to seal that back up. Trying to turn that engine. So it's using compression and vacuum from inside of the engine to operate the pump. This is why I keep saying on a two-stroke engine, you have to have a completely sealed engine for this thing to perform and run properly. If it's not completely sealed, you're going to have issues, pump not pumping all the way, not pumping right, you're not getting fuel, compression's not making good compression, or get all kinds of problems. And gaskets. You guys can choose that gaskets. Okay, these hoses are hard. Sooner or later, all this stuff needs to get replaced. All these hard fuel lines. As long as we don't have a leak now, we'll be all right. We keep moving ahead. This guy would love to have his boat back, and I would love to have to give it back to him. I'll tell you what, I would love to go out on this boat and see how it runs after this engine is fixed. I want to see what kind of speed this 48 is doing on a decent sized boat like this. This is a fiberglass boat that makes it heavy. It's 17 foot long and 6 feet across the beam. So it's a pretty good sized boat. And a 48, I don't know if that 40 it comes with a 48 or they put a 48 on there. I would love to go out on the water on a boat ride, a boat test after this is all done. Normally the only test you do is in a tank, right here. Slip a tank or those muffler ears and run water through it, and that's the test you do. But I would actually love to take this boat out and run it. After all, that's fun. You know what I mean? Have a little bit of crud inside of that main wiring harness. Use an electric cleaner. Down here, let it soak for a sec. I'm gonna blow that out. Got one right up there, starting to corrode a little bit. I'm gonna scratch on it some so you can make some good contact. And then I'm gonna grease it up real good to keep moisture out. It's just supposed to be watertight. I have electric grease for this situation here. Put some in there. There we go. We got a little crazy situation here with wiring. I want to see if I can make it a little bit nicer. I guess first I need to do this wire plug. I'm gonna do that one underneath there. If I could only get them through that hole and bring it back up, that would even be better. But for right now, we'll do it like this. Okay, that one has to go right there, just like that. It doesn't have the safety clip here that keeps this two together so it doesn't separate. But I'm going to try to relax fit it in here so it doesn't pull apart. Okay, you can sit there nice and quiet. That would be good. The next one, this is battery wire, solenoid wire, starter solenoid wire. We'll put that one there. This wire needed to run the bottom and come back up all the way over there. This one is an extra wire. Don't know what that's for. We'll leave that there for now. And tuck these ground wires in there. some extra. It's groundwater. These two groundwater should go underneath and come back up on this side. I think I'm going to do just that. Hold it out of there. Right, pass these on. There's some room in front here. Easier said than done. Ay, ay, ay. Get out of the way. And we should do it here. See. Go. Back to go. See, not easy. Stay on there. There's a way to go. Do it. There's a way to go. There's one. And it's tight. You open out of it. And there's another one. So, you can do this. We have the technology. Alright, we got them two back up here. I'm going to open up these holes a little bit. Just to make life easy. Open that up some. Alright, let's try that bolt now. Perfect. And the next one. And right there. Good. Washer. 1, 2. Put this one on top, and that one at the bottom. Now I'm going to hand tight it. I'm going to hand tight it to finish it up because I don't want to ruin the threads on the engine. I'm going to make sure it's tight enough, but don't strip it out. Now I can tuck that wire back in here, way down in the corner there. It's so much better now. So much better. Oh my god. Wow. This one here is an extra wire. I don't know, this is probably not connecting anywhere. I don't know if it's hot or not. I can check it later. If it's not hot, I can just slip them in there and leave it there. Okay, it's all good. I'm going to connect this here now. Maybe now I can cut this hose so I can fit this thing the way it should fit. Oh, that's not going to work. That's not going to work there. It's kinking the hose. That's why it's on the outside like that. Need a more flexible hose like this one here to replace this. So that can be something to take care of later. Right now, let me try to get this boy running. We're focusing on getting it running. Right, now we're going to make sure I could put a hose clamp here too. Let's see how this does. They had zippy tie on there before. A lot of marine have zippy ties. So we'll see how that works out. If it leak, I'll change it to a metal clamp. If it don't leak, we'll just leave it there. Yes, sir. I'd love to borrow the boat for a day. I know the owner pretty well. He might just let me have it for a day. Matter of fact, I think he would love that. So I can take it out in the water for a day and run it, make sure everything is good before I give it to him. If it breaks down, I'm on my own. So if I do something like that, I'm taking two boats out. I take this one out and take my other boat. Take my boat out along with this and run it. So we have one to tow it back in just in case. Yes, sir. Alright, that's gonna have to sit there. There's one last thing I want to do here is I'm going to cut the line and install a inline fuel filter because this thing does not have any fuel filter, and I can tell you one little crummy dirt can go in this and block it somewhere and cause problem for this engine. So I'm going to try to fix that. Let's address that problem. And all it has to do is come out from the tank. But that tank look like it might have a little something in the bottom there sitting, and sometimes you can't get that out and you need a filter. Always have a filter. So I have an inline filter. This is the last thing I'm going to put on there before I try to start it again. Inline filter. I'm going to cut the hose somewhere between the tank and the motor and put this in there. Probably under there somewhere. Let me see what's a good location here. I think I'm going to put it before the primer ball. Like right up close up to the tank. So it start filtering from there and keep all the holes and everything clean. That's what I'll do. Yes sir, yes sir. Alright, let's cut that hose.
Need a drink of water. It's hot out here. Dang, 100 degrees every day. Get that hose cut. There. Get a hose clamp. I'm looking to see where it says in and out. So I don't see, okay, there's an arrow direction here. So it has to go that way. So we're in the right direction here. That fits on really nice there. Make sure all these hose clamps are nice and tight. Boy, I hate flat screwdrivers. It's moving, so I need to tighten it up some more. Tighten it up until I don't want to move anymore. But I have plastic here, so I don't know. How well is that going to work? Oh, there he goes. Sure, that's not working. I have one more fitting here. I hope that's not pulling in any air from there, because it needs to pull the gas out of the tank. And if you have a leak here, then that'll be another problem there again. Boy, oh boy. Doesn't end, does it? A tiny bit movement there. Ah. Okay, so I'm going to take out these spark plugs to do an inspection on it, see how they are. Look like water deposit. It smells bad. I gotta clean that up. Has some water on there. Here's the other one. It's wet, like it's fouled out. So I'm gonna dry these out, clean it up, and reinstall it. Okay, so the spark plugs are cleaned up. They're dry. I'm gonna give it a shot of starter fluid right in that hole. I missed. Right there. And right there. Then I'm gonna lock it in. Right. Reinstall the plugs. Snug it up. Don't over tighten. Just snug it up. And a little bit more. That's it. All the way in. Snug it up. A little bit more. That's it. That's good there. Put that in there. Put that in there. Okay. We're primed up supposedly. So we're gonna attempt our first start on this motor, see what happens. Okay, it still wouldn't start. So I need to figure out what else is going on here as far as fuel. We got all the leaks taken care of, the pump and primer and the carburetor, so I need to find out what's my problem here. Maybe I need to tweak the carburetor. I gotta check, see fuel's coming in the carburetor, and hopefully we'll find something simple. I'll get to fire the bad boy up. Bad boy, you gotta fire you up. So I think it will start, but I don't want to start right now. Giving a hard time starting. I pull the plug, I see water on it. I pulled it a second time, I believe I see water on it again. We might have some water in that fuel. The tank was empty, but of course it was outside getting rain. And I pour a gallon of gas in there, but I can't really see the water if there's water in there. So I'm going to do a fuel test and see if it's got water in it. And there's some water in here. I'm going to dry it out. Bet you didn't know that. That's how you dry a water bottle out. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna drain some fuel out the carburetor and see what's coming in there. I'm gonna try to tilt this motor some. So now I have the carburetor leaning back towards the drain plug. I can get that fuel out of the carburetor and we'll test that and see if we can get water in it.
It definitely has water in it. It's nasty. So that line, the whole system needs to get flushed out now. Woo! That is dirty. I don't know if you can see this, but there is water. There is water at the bottom and fuel at the top. There's more water than fuel in that bottle. Again, I'm going to clean up the fuel system and then we'll try it again. Alright, so I'm going to dump all the fuel. I just poured fresh gas, mixed gas with the oil, but I did not really see any water in there. Of course, I didn't look hard enough and I wasn't expecting any water. But this happened to me last week on the water on another boat where the tank was sitting outside in the yard under a tree and it's raining and somehow water gets into these tanks. Very tank. So if you have a tank like this, you can't leave it outside unless you're going to cover it up. If these tank leak, water gets inside through here somehow or the cap. And it's a very tank and I'm experiencing the same problem here now for the second time. So I got to clean this up really good and try to start it again. That's all we can do. So I'm going to pour this fuel back into that tank. The water should settle at the bottom by now, and we'll see how much water we have at the bottom. Because with this gas floating on top and the water at the bottom, the very first thing the pump is going to be pumping is water. So that would cause it not to want to start. So we'll start there. And I'll flush the line out and everything else. I can see it now. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to put any more of that in there. You can see it swishing around in there. So I'm going to pour the rest of this in this little cup here. If you look in the bucket, you'll see different colors in there. I'm not sure you could see that through this camera, but it's definitely has water in the bottom. You can see that separation right there. That's water bubbles. All those bubbles are water. Anything bubbly like that. You see the water is separating? It's water. Now let's see. Maybe I don't have much in here. Nope, I don't have much in here. I'm going to pour this in the tank. Okay, I left some in there just in case if there's water at the bottom. I'm going to continue to pour this into the cup. You gotta give it a minute to settle. Give it 1 minute, then we'll pour the upper half of the fuel in the tank. Because water is heavier than fuel, it'll stay at the bottom. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. Can you see it? Can you see the water separated from the fuel? You have fuel up here, and you have water line right here. See, it changes color from here down. That's how much water is in this tank. So all of that water made its way up into the carburetor, the whole fuel line system, into the combustion chamber and everywhere else. So I gotta do a cleanup job and try to start the engine again. Yep. It's a lot of junk coming out of here. Look at that. It's like milk. I don't see no gas coming out yet. That's a lot of water in these lines. I got a lot of flushing here to do. My gosh. Nasty. As long as I get all this nasty stuff out, and I keep my finger crossed that I don't have to pull the carburetor down and clean them out again, should be back on track. Alright, I think that's coming out clear there now. When that's settled, I'll show you how much water is at the bottom of this thing. I can already see water line down here. Maybe it's that much, or maybe up here. I don't think it's gonna have a whole lot in this time because I cleaned most of it out already. You got water right here, and all this here is fuel. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to put it all back together and bleed the fuel through the lines. Put it all back together, put all the hoses back and everything. Then we're going to bleed, I'm going to bleed it through the system. Then we'll try to fire it up again, see how it works. Alright, so I finished bleeding the fuel system. So I'm going to try to see if it's going to start now. Put these sparks plugged back in. Here we go. La da da da. La di di di. La di 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 di. There. There. One here. One here. Carburetor plugs are in, hoses are in. Zip tied, nice and tight. Now, big question is, you prime the ball, I'm going to hit the key. Aha! That's what I'm talking about right there. It fired up. So guess what? We're going to fill the tank up with water and try to run it. I hope it starts again. Time to fill up the tank. Alright, let's fill up the tank. It's going to take a while. Maybe I should take this thing here off so it could be quicker. Oh man, I got to bleed the water back out. Bleed the water back out. Now, let's stick that hose in there. Fasten it up between there somewhere and fire up the water. There you go, full speed ahead. I want to start it and run it in this 55-gallon cutout plastic barrel. That's my barrel for testing these motors. I can run them for a half an hour or however long I want. As long as it's sitting in water like that, it'll be good. Alright, I think my barrel is full. Woo, it's jumping in here like a fool. Like a fool now. It's time to fire this motor up again. Alright, I'm going to fire it back up again. Let's see. Use my Frank across, it'll fire up. Know if it's supposed to be through there or through this hose right here. Hey, look at that, it's still running, it's still running. Unbelievable. Okay. Now it's being through the rubber hose, this rubber hose. It had a mud gobbler build a nest in there and blocked it. And it got flushed out. As a matter of fact, I can see the bug floating in the water. Floating in the corner there. I'm not very familiar with this motor. It's shooting water out here through this exhaust port. I'm not sure if it's supposed to do that or not. But the most important one for me is the water pump. It's peeing, so that's good. I gotta see if I can get the motor run a little smoother than that. Start, stop. See if it's gonna fire right up every time. Fired right up like a champ. And it's smoking. 2-stroke engine, that's good. If it wasn't smoking, I would be worried. So the next thing I'm going to do, since it's running a little rough, I'm going to have to go through the ignition timing and carburetor setting, tune it, fine tune it, see if it's going to run any better. If it don't run any better, I'm going to say maybe the compression is not 100% anymore. I can run a test on that too. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I just want to say thank you for watching the video. I hope you learned something. I know I've learned a lot about that engine. I've never seen an engine like that or worked on an engine like that. It's pretty basic. I have basic knowledge about what it looks like and what's happening there. So I'm able to work with an engine like that and try to figure it out. Clearly, if you notice, how I do my diagnostic on that engine is I started out with a starter fluid. I sprayed some fluid in the carburetor and try to attempt to start it and see what it will do. What I've noticed that it tried to start for a second, so that gave me my first clue that it's a fuel problem and not a spark problem or a compression problem. So I was able to right there and then figure out which line I'm going to go down. Are you going to go down a fuel line? Are you going to go down a spark, looking for spark? Or are you going to start looking for compression? See if you guys look for compression. So hopefully you learned something from this video. I know I've learned a lot. It's an old motor, as you can see, and I was able to get that motor running again. I would have wished if I could have get it, go out in the water and run it and spend some time with it and see how it runs. I actually love that boat, and because it did not had any paperwork, everything was expired. I did not want it to go out on the water with it. That was the only reason I did not go do a water test with it. So if you like my video, you like that video, learned something, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you learned, what you like, or if you didn't like something, you can leave me a comment on that too. I appreciate all comments, negative and positive. That's how I learn. I'm not a master of anything. I just know a whole lot of stuff. I've been working in the field my whole life, you know, over 35 years messing around with all kinds of stuff. Electrical, engine, front end, brakes, on cars, trucks, and now I'm working on boats. It's not a whole lot. Boats are not really that hard to work on, at least for me. I usually like, if I don't know something, I learn right there and then as I'm working on it. I'll learn about it right there and then. It take me 5-10 minutes to learn something because I'm very light like that in the field. That's how I am. So I've learned a lot about that motor. I actually have an older motor I'm going to be working on, 1966, a little Johnson, and that one have a lot of older technology in it, and it kind of reminded me when I was a teenager. When I first started out, I started out with something basically like that, and on cars that is not an outboard, but I've seen stuff in there that I've already seen on all the cars, and I'm going to try to get that one running too. That one is not running. We need to get that one running and drop it on a boat so we can go and have some fun with it. And you'll see a couple of things I'll do on there and fire it up. I'm not going to make a long video with that one like I did on this one, but I wanted to do that so you can see how I diagnose the problem on the engine and go about fixing it. It does take a lot of time, but you have to be patient with it and do it right. Yeah, so if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up, like it, share it, subscribe if you did not subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of educational stuff on my channel, so if you want to learn something, you might be able to learn something from what I'm sharing in my videos. Look out for my next video, and hopefully we can learn something new again. I'll continue to try to put some educational stuff on my videos for somebody to learn at least one thing. If you can learn one thing off my video, that makes me happy. So, thank you again, and see you next time.